Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here. Oh, my goodness. It's Football Sunday. Welcome. We're going to be starting our live stream about 1 o'clock today, and we're going to be going through the 1 o'clock games, the 4 o'clock games, all the way to the main event, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Indianapolis Colts. This is sad in some ways. We have 18 weeks of regular season football, 17 for your team. 17, that's it for a whole year. And it seems like it takes forever to get here. And then, of course, it just seems like it goes by too fast. Yeah, this is one of 17 opportunities for our Dallas Cowboys to say, we deserve a stake in the claim of the opportunity to going for a Super Bowl. I don't know how this season's going to end. I have truly enjoyed it. I'm curious for all the people after week one that said that they were done, they were sick of the Cowboys. I'm not going to be a fan anymore, that up and just walked out and left. The season's over with. I wonder how long it took before they got back on to watching the Cowboys. How many games they actually stop watching. How many times they say, I give up because the Cowboys aren't going to win as long as Jerry and Stephen Jones are there. But yet somehow, some way, with all of the moves that they made in the offseason that they got killed for, including by me, all of us, from the Cooper rushes to the letting go Connor Williams and Lyle Collins and Amari Coopers, sending him to Siberia, not signing the big-name free agents, the Bobby Wagners and the Von Millers and all of the Zarius Smiths, failing with the Brandon Cooks deal. Somehow, we're still considered one of the best teams in football. And it's crazy. It's funny because this season has started out, for me, it started out over the summer, losing great friend in Stuart Morrison. Although I feel Stuart's presence, even though Stuart Morrison has never physically been here, I feel Stuart's presence and have throughout this season. From the helmet that he gave me here, one of the things that he wanted to make sure I had on his deathbed, and the picture of Tom Landry and Roger Staubach, too. Gifts that he'd given me before of Drew Pearson autograph print, and of course the carving we have of him and the crew that went down to their house. He had two wishes. This is crazy, and I don't want to jinx it, but two wishes was, one, we come down and take care of Mama. Look out for his mother, Angela, which we did. And the other was for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if that wish is going to come true, but you have to look at this season and say, right now, everything that's happened is not what it looked like it was going to be. It makes no sense to have a Cooper Rush, a guy who literally nobody wanted. We had people and writers saying they should trade for Sam Darnold or bring in Cam Newton. But here it is, Cooper Rush, 4-1. A defense that 2 years ago was the worst defense in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, now one of the top ones. A running back in Zeke Elliott who, everybody thought was done and couldn't contribute, along with Tony Pollard being one of the best running games of football. Losing Tyron Smith, which is usually the death nail for the Cowboys, before the season even started. And here it is, you drafted the future tackle and Tyler Smith in the offensive line, who everybody thought was going to be a problem. I don't believe Dak Prescott has been touched the last two games. All these things don't make any sense. The only thing that can make sense of it to me is Stuart Morrison up there with the football gods beaming down on us. I hope that comes true. I hope that comes true. I'm going to add one more thing to this. We got to meet Micah Parsons at autograph signing. And I'm going to say I was a little bit disappointed. I'm going to be honest with it. And maybe this was the first time he's done autograph signings and things like that. One, CeeDee Lamb and him would only sign NFL licensed merchandise, which is, that's for their agents and stuff. But Micah, who is very busy, had his headphones on and, was just signing and letting stuff go. But I felt the need, because of what Stuart wanted, to tell him, this is what, this was a gift from Stuart, the piece that you had signed and he bought. And Stuart's dying wish is for you guys to win the Super Bowl. I don't know how well he listened on that. He seemed like he was just kind of there and all that. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe subconsciously he did. But you look at the season that he has had and this team has had, it's like a team possessed with an ultimate goal. That's all I can say on that one. The Cowboys, here's the crazy thing about football. From one week to the next, you can be ass or great. We were ass the second half in the fourth quarter against the Green Bay Packers, and then we were great against Minnesota. And then 4 days later, we were really good against the Giants. Tonight, it's time to get to be great again. Now, we're going to be live streaming, like I said, starting at 1 o'clock. We're going to be watching Philly 500, see if he melts down. I've still been looking for Rashid. I don't know what's happened to Rashid. I don't know if he'll be here. I've got a couple of new people that are actually going to be here today for the game as well, joining in. I've got a Chiefs fan and, of course, Wes, who's a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan here as well. DMV will be here. The Glizzies will be here. We'll have the fried pork sub, of course. And before I get out of here and get set up for the day, I want to listen to, of course, Rich Eisen and their take on the Cowboys.
TJ Jefferson was wondering where the Cowboys stand in your pecking order. They stand where? Where not?
I mean, I would have them in the top 5 with the Niners and the Eagles. I actually think all 3 of those teams are pretty equal, honestly. And I think they're equal because I talked about this earlier. I don't think the Cowboys are a good matchup for the Eagles this next time around. We talk a lot about the Eagles running game and obviously the quarterback and what he does for them and how great that offensive line is.
Right.
The Cowboys arguably have the second best rushing attack in the NFL.
I'm a big Pollard guy. Huge.
Oh my God. But when Zeke was out and Pollard had that big game, you also saw the other backup running backs just going off. The offensive line, the way the scheme has evolved a little bit, Kellen Moore and how he has approached the run, it's really, really hard to stop.
Especially since Tyron Smith's injury was supposed to be the end of it. And it wasn't.
I thought the offensive line was going to be such an issue for the Cowboys at the beginning of the season, and it has not been an issue at all.
And one would think Micah Parsons, who says, call me a lion, if he is the lion, with Matt Ryan standing back there, it could be a National Geographic documentary.
Oh, my God, I forgot. Yeah. Oh, God, that Colts offensive line against the Cowboys pass rush.
So bad.
And Matt, God bless, watching him try to escape. That's what. How the hell did the Raiders let him run for 40 yards? What the hell was that about?
He had a 20-yard run
on Monday. I don't even want to talk about it. Well, it needed to be 21 before he dove, right?
That's one of the tape, but I forgot the Raiders linebacker is watching that. I'm like, you can't be in a meeting room that week watching Matt Ryan
go. I mean, it's like 20 yards is enough, but then it's just he keeps running. It's like, is somebody going to tackle this guy? He looked like the yodeler on Price is Right, just slowly going up and just keep on yodeling.
I think you would beat him, Rich. You probably.
But yeah, thank you very much, man. Great, appreciate that. It sounds like it's just a brutal matchup. On Sunday
and the
night.
Cowboys. The Cowboys defense. Like we talk a lot about Micah Parsons, but they're probably one of my favorite units to watch every week because Dan Quinn varies up the game plan, what they do in terms of disguise on the back end, their simulated pressures on the front end, the games that they run. It's really creative, which, by the way, I didn't think Dan Quinn was going to make this kind of evolution at this point in his career. It's so fun to watch. I feel like the only thing holding people back from believing in the Cowboys is that they're the Cowboys.
Well, I mean...
No, but like when you really get into the nuts and the bolts of the team and you start looking at the matchups, they're so good. And they match up so well with so many of the other teams in the NFC.
Well, the reason why you offended TJ is he still, when you think of the Cowboys, he still thinks of the 90s and the rest of the United States.
I had a lot of good years back then.
I know, but that's why, again, the way that the season ended last year is still something
the draw.
That just screams at you, but we haven't seen a lot of those moments this year at all.
Dak needed that last year, just like Jordan had to get beat up by the Pistons to take the next
Oh,
level.
really?
He needed that time clock management.
Wow.
Did the Niners not shake their hands at the end? Is that what it was?
Well, I just hope that he uses that to elevate him to the next level. It's something I got to believe in, man, just to help me
Do
get
you
through
believe
this.
Do you believe in Dak, Mina? Because was it LaShawn McCoy or whoever was going after him on
was
Twitter
McCoy.
saying he wasn't the guy?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah.
I think he's playing really good football right now. Every now and then he kind of forces it a little bit, which he shouldn't. Like, this offense, again, is so... everything, the pieces around him are so good, and we'll see if they sign OBJ, but... He doesn't need to force some of those throws. Now, I will say a lot of the interceptions this year have not been his fault, actually. It's been the receivers in certain cases. But he's playing at a really high level right now, and I do believe in him.
The practice window for James Washington just opened up, too.
Yeah.
So there are some reinforcements, potentially even Odell, too. Look, and the whole thing, the reason why by the way, Shady is a flamethrower, huh? In his media business. Yeah, I know, he's a hot taker.
Yeah.
The whole idea was just like when Dak comes back, Cooper Rush just showed you the offense doesn't need to have a 400-yard passing game, doesn't need to, and he hasn't delivered it, and he hasn't forced it either.
Yeah.
But he also can run. I mean,
that's huge.
Yeah, I have no concerns about that.
That was a huge
Prescott.
issue for him last year. If you're a Cowboys fan, you might have had the same frustration watching him that I did, which was it felt like when he came back from the injury, he wouldn't take off at times when he had those opportunities. They weren't using him in the boot game as much, in the option game, because he can run. You're right, and I feel like that's something that the Cowboys could tap into even more.
Yeah, Colts are. So that would be huge because we're assuming that this is a win for the Cowboys. And the Eagles have to, as Mike Vrabel famously said on this program, take your heart pills and buckle up. That's going to be just a Donnybrook, man.
It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be so much fun today.
The Eagles in Tennessee.
That's right.
So if this is a Tennessee victory, that means the Cowboys get that one game closer that they need before that Christmas rematch that you're saying is a worse matchup for Philadelphia this time around.
Oh, it's such a good game.
It is.
My God.
Week 13 is quite scrumptious. And it starts on Thursday night with the Bills going out at Buffalo versus Belichick.
All right, so it's going to be a scrumptious match here. I can't wait. I've got to get the studio set up, get the TVs all together and all that, so we have a full day of NFL football. I am so excited. I just love. There's nothing better than NFL Sunday. There just is not. I am so blessed to have so many of you great fans. I hope you tune in to the best live stream. At least I call it the best live stream out there. And I just can't wait, y'all. You know how we roll.
Our Colts here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe for the Sports Report.